This year marks the 50th anniversary of Atlanta Pride. Jamie Ferguson, Executive Director of the Atlanta Pride Committee, shared thoughts on just how significant the anniversary is.
To me, it means that there's validation for us to still need to be here and doing this work. It's a great time to pause and reflect on everyone that came before us, that did a lot of work to make our work possible. But it's also a time where I can sit and look and see that there's still a lot of work to be done, particularly for transgender and gender nonconforming individuals, Black and brown members of our community, people with disabilities. We've not done a great job of inclusion on those fronts over 50 years, so we have a lot of work. But even now, even though technically marriage equality is the law of the land now, and we have a lot more protections based on gender identity, those are still constantly under attack, especially here in the South. And, quite frankly, there's someone who could be joining the Supreme Court in just a few weeks who has said that, she would join a majority of people to overturn those if she was asked. So, for me, it's a point to celebrate, but also pause and just reflect on there being so much more work to do.
The past that Jamie speaks of is one of confrontation and bitter injustice, but to understand how pride parades came to be, you must start it where they began. On June 28, 1969, LGBTQ+ New Yorkers responded to a regular police raid by fighting back, and that led to 4 days of rioting and protests. LGBTQ+ rights protests had been happening for over a decade prior to the iconic Stonewall riots, but the decade following what happened at the Stonewall Inn solidified a global movement of millions that still thrives today. Atlanta has held its own special place in this queer history. The Georgia Voice newspaper laid out a detailed timeline of Atlanta's pride history. That's where most of the information in this podcast is taken from. Various sources claim that a small march happened in Atlanta in 1970. Others say education pamphlets about the previous year's riots were handed out at Piedmont Park, but there are no known records or media coverage. In 71, Atlanta held its first official Pride March, organized by the Gay Liberation Front. The march went from Peachtree Street to Piedmont Park, with somewhere between 50 and 125 people attending. In 72, 300 people came. In 76, the march had reached 1,000 attendees. By 1980, Pride had been renamed Lesbian, Gay, Transperson Pride, and it reached 1,200 attendees. In 1981, the Gay Atlanta Minorities Association boycotted Pride because of racism they experienced there. After surviving a decade of the AIDS epidemic and facing dwindling numbers of attendees to local Pride, 1990 Pride brought in 5,000 people. In 1991, Atlanta Pride's attendance jumped to 30,000 people. In 92, 60,000 people came. In 93, the number reached 100,000 people. In 96, while 300,000 people attended Atlanta Pride, Atlanta Black Pride held its first festival. In 2000, with the B-52s headlining Sunday's festival, the attendance of Atlanta Pride's 30th anniversary was a record 400,000 people. In 2003, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned anti-gay sodomy laws on the 26th of June, which was the day before the Pride festivals began. In 2008, Atlanta Pride made the permanent move from being held in June to being held in October. In 2009, the Atlanta Pride's first trans march was held. In 2010, U.S. Representative and civil rights icon John Lewis spoke at Atlanta Pride. Here's some of that speech.
We made a lot of progress, but we still have a distance to go. I will not be satisfied. I will not be pleased until we end discrimination based on sexual orientation. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't give out. Keep the faith. When I was much younger, had all of my hair and a few pounds lighter. I got arrested a few times, beaten in jail, but I didn't give up. And you must not give up. Keep organizing, keep marching, keep voting, and you will win, and we all will win.
In 2011, Atlanta Pride faced controversy after planning the festival on a weekend that conflicted with Yom Kippur, putting Atlanta's LGBTQ+ Jews in an uncomfortable position. Atlanta Pride also faced a backlash from animal activists for holding its kickoff party at the Georgia Aquarium. Also in 2011, the Georgia Voice newspaper called Atlanta's Black Gay Pride the world's largest black gay celebration. In 2017, Atlanta Black Gay Pride had over 75,000 attendees. And now, for the first time, both Atlanta Pride and Atlanta Black Pride will have to be held virtually. This means that because of COVID-19, the 50th anniversary of Atlanta Pride will be forced online, and one of the world's largest black queer celebrations will also be forced online. I spoke to a longtime member of Atlanta Pride to discuss the significance of the transition to a virtual festival.
My name is Lynn Barfield, and I'm the operations manager here at Atlanta Pride. I do day-to-day operations, day-to-day connection on financials with our finance committee and bookkeeper. I also am in charge of the Community Reinvestment Grantee Program and the Small Business Partnership Program for Atlanta Pride. It is very ironic and very that it's our 50th anniversary. But then I also think that this time for all of us, no matter what business you're in, no matter what sector you work in, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, signals change. And so if we're in this for another 6 months, if we're in this for even next year, we've made the pivot, and we will continue to do our very, very best to bring highlights and to bring forth support and to bring forth those partnerships. And we'll, of course, be doing more virtual things even after the festival.
While members of the queer community might feel down about missing an actual Pride parade, the safety of our community and all communities should always be put first. And after all, who says a virtual festival can't be fun?